Zelda, Duke Onward is under attack by the evil forces of Ganon. I'm going to Gamelan to aid him.
But Father, what if something happens to you?
I'll take the Triforce of Courage to protect me. If you don't hear from me in a month, send Link.
Impa? Don't worry, Zelda. The Triforce of Wisdom promises the king will safely return.
Enough. My ship sails in the morning. I wonder what's for dinner.
Oh boy! I'm so hungry, I could eat an octorok.
A whole month gone, and still no word. I'm certain he's all right.
Yeah, that old Ganon's no match for the king.
Link, go to Gamelan and find my father.
Great! I can't wait to bomb some Dodongos.
Wake up, Impa. We're going to Gamelan. All right, dear. I'll get the Triforce of Wisdom.
Okay, so that was just a really random bit of footage from one of the infamous games on the Philips CDI, The Legend of Zelda, The Wand of Gamelon. Some of you may have heard of it. It looks like this. Sorry if there's a bit of light reflecting. So if you've played it, you know what it's about, and if you haven't, then if you do try it, then good luck with that one. It's really fiddly. The controls are awkward as hell. The animation, as you've just seen, if you did catch that first bit, are absolutely horrendous. I do like the music personally, but it's absolutely horrendous. So I thought I'd just start the show with a little FMV sequence from one of the famous games on the Philips CDI. So apologies first of all about the delayed start. Computer kept crashing, all that rubbish stuff. Eventually managed to get it working, and also I haven't hosted a Google Plus live ages, so parts of it I'd forgotten how to do myself anyway. So hopefully you can chat in the sidebar. If not, let me know underneath. If you want to jump on board and talk to me personally and sort of show yourself and stuff, that would be awesome too, and get some good conversations going. But yeah, this is mainly, guys, just to give you guys more of an insight into the Philips CDI itself, what it was, what Philips were aiming to do with it, and why it basically flopped so badly. So I mean, there's a lot of games on the system, so I've got a huge collection. So we'll be going through that in a bit. But I mean, what we'll do is we'll just start basically by showing you just a little bit of gameplay footage, if you can see okay, of Zelda the Wand of Gamelon. Just give you an idea of how the gameplay worked on it as well. You know, if you think the animation was shoddy, you wait till you see the gameplay. So let's just show a little bit. So basically, hopefully you can see that all right. Hopefully you can hear that all right. Obviously, when you're pointing a camera at your TV, you're not always going to get great footage. So I'm doing my absolute best. And also the lighting's not particularly brilliant. I tried shutting the curtains and putting the main lights on. Still not as good as how I've got it now. So start off at the world map. So there's the cursor going around there. You've got Aru Ainu, you've got Sakado, and you've got Kobitan. So you start off with 3 main areas that you can choose from. And as you progress through the game, you unlock further areas, and you have to also defeat bosses, collect items that enable you to progress further. Now, if there's any Zelda fans out there, chances are you might not have seen this one, you might have overlooked this one, and to be fair, good for you for overlooking it because you've not missed anything. I think the only good thing about this game back in the day was that you could actually play as Zelda. Obviously, you fans out there know that you have to play as Link when you play, obviously, Zelda games. But with this one, you can now play as Zelda. So it kind of was quite intriguing at the time, I guess. But it failed quite miserably. So let's just go into the main town, which is one of the main areas. And let's just give you guys a quick idea as to why this game is so bad. So, obviously, you're playing as Zelda. I've already been hit once already. Hopefully you can see that okay-ish. I think I can probably make it a bit closer. Try that. Like I said, the whole point of this live stream isn't to be like a gameplay-orientated live stream. So it's just a really quick so you guys can see. So basically, the way it works is you got your D-pad, you got your controller, you got your D-pad. Oh. Let's go in the shop because I'm trying to show you guys what to do, and actually it's not allowing me because I just keep getting hit. Right, so this is one of the controllers you can get on the Philips CDI. It's the best one that's out there. Any others that you see, don't even try because they're horrendous. D-pad, basically, if you push it up, Zelda jumps up and down. Obviously, right and left on the D-pad. Button 1, she strikes with a sword. Button 2 does everything else. So button 1 strikes with a sword, button 2 does everything else. So button 3 does nothing. There's your first floor right there. Button 2 takes you through doors, takes you into your pouch so you can see your inventory, and enables you to throw items. That's it, and that's everything. It does everything. Button 3 does nothing. So you can go into your pouch. You can see there you've got your sword, your shield, your life hearts, how many rupees you've collected, which enables you to buy items, and your lantern oil, which is currently 0 because I don't even have the lantern yet. You actually talk to people by striking them with your sword, so that's even more random in itself. So you strike, and then they talk.
Of course I'm on your side, but I still have to sell the stuff. Just pick what you want. I'll handle the rubies.
So already, like, you know, you've got a creepy shopkeeper, so I think we'll go away from him. And then basically you just have to time your jumps and your strikes perfectly or you'll just die. So when you go forwards, you strike with your sword, you have to jump up to get the ones that fly up. And just basically collect as many rupees as you can so that you can basically buy items. But as you can see, the graphics aren't great. And in some of the later levels as well, when you have to jump from ledge to ledge, if your jumps aren't perfect, then you will just die basically. You go through doors by pressing button 2 as well. So I'm just going to show you a little bit more, guys, and then we'll leave this. But basically, again, someone else is going to freak us out, I'm sure, striking them with the sword.
Hello, dearie. Oh, just a minute.
Oh, here we go.
Isn't it lovely? Bring some fairy dust and I'll make it a magic cloak.
Whoa, what the hell is that with our eyes? So again, someone else has just freaked us out. If you go up the stairs, you actually go through the window, which that's not made obvious. So if you weren't told about that, how would you have known to have gone through there? But there we are. Takes you out the back of the level. Again, more items. And then just to finish on this game, guys, this is a good example as to how if you don't time your jumps properly, you will lose. Yeah, if you don't jump on the chair, he will actually shoot you with that. So here's another level where you have to get to the top. In fact, I'm going to die on purpose, actually, because I've only got half a heart as it is. You get 3 continues before you go back to the map. So, right. So this is why you have to time your jumps so well. There's just too many enemies that come at you. Oh. Okay, so I made it. but I've been playing this a little while anyway. I've had a bit of practice. But as you can see, you know, I kept on falling off ledges, and it is just so awkward. And the amount of enemies that basically fly at you is just not on. So if you fancy trying Zelda the Wonder Gamelon, feel free, but I wouldn't recommend it because it is absolutely horrendous. The gameplay is just... I'll let them kill me, actually. There we go. So there you go, guys. That's Zelda Wonder Gamelon. I'm going to turn that off, take this back to the home screen. That's what the Philips CDI home screen looks like. There you go. And we're going to go from there. So, right, so there you go, guys. Just a little bit of gameplay on Zelda Wonder Gamelon. I can't see that enticing anyone to want to go out and buy it. So, yeah, hopefully you would have looked at that and gone, nah, it's not for me. So, yeah, Zelda Wonder Gamelon, awful game. Don't go and get it. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to look at my extensive game collection. Do bear with me because this is only, I think, the second or third live stream I've ever hosted, and the last one I did was about a year or so ago. So I'm very rusty. So I've tried to structure it as best as I can. But again, I've not had too much experience doing live streams. I'm used to someone else hosting and me being sort of a participant. So do bear with me, and yeah, do be patient. I hope you don't mind if I start to stutter, or hopefully I don't lose my way, but we'll see what happens. So am I lucky? I don't know. It depends what you think about the system, I suppose. But basically, my parents bought me a Philips CDI when I was a little kid. So I grew up playing it. I've owned a Philips CDI for over 15 years, and I've actually loved it for over 15 years. For me, I think the main thing is that it's just nostalgic for me. I absolutely just have a soft spot for it. I can't help it. I've played it so much. I think for me, because I was so young when I first started playing it, I didn't know any better. I didn't know it was really bad, or it was going to be an awful system. And by the time I realised how bad it was, I think I played it so much by then that I just grown to love it regardless. So I think for me, I just kind of happened naturally, and now I just really have a soft spot for it. But anyway, let's go through my collection. If there's any games, guys, that you see me hold up that you wouldn't mind having a quick look at while we're on the live stream, feel free to ask, and I'll put the game on. So the first one we've got, guys, is A Visit to Sesame Street Numbers. Obviously for kids, but you get to visit all the characters, you know, Elmo, Bert and Ernie, the Count, Big Bird. Cookie Monster's not actually in here as such. He's pictured on a lunchbox, and when you click on him, he goes, nom, 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 with a cookie, but he doesn't actually appear as a main character on the game. So yeah, just obviously teaching kids how to explore and play with numbers. Next one is Battleship. Now, awesome port. If you've owned, you know, the board itself, where you have to set it up with the pegs and the plastic ships, and also you have to sync each other's battleships, to now play it on a games console is actually really cool, and it plays really well. So if you do happen to get a CDI, or you have one but have never owned this, guys, this is one of the ones that I would recommend you pick up because it is a very good port of Battleship. Next one, Bernstein Bears on Their Own. This game basically spawns from a TV series called Bernstein Bears, which was out quite a few years ago now for kids. I've actually seen a few episodes randomly just to see how it compares to the actual CDI game. It's not too bad, obviously, for kids, but yeah, it's all right. Basically, you go through this game having to collect stars. So every little sort of mini game you complete, you get a star. And once you've collected so many stars, you actually enable the two little cubs, brother and sister, to actually go to the county fair. But yeah, a lot of the mini games are really random, but actually not too bad, to be honest. It's quite fun. You know, if you want a game that's very quirky and a bit different, then this isn't too bad. But again, it's more aimed at kids, so it's going to be very, you know, child orientated. Next one is Caesar's World of Gambling. Love this. Love this. It's really got that casino, you know, Las Vegas kind of sort of atmosphere elements to it. Really good. You can play on the slot machines. You can play on basically blackjack, roulette, or craps as well. And it's visually, it looks really nice. It really does. And even again on the back, you know, you can see, you know, really nice pictures there as well of actual Caesar's Palace. So really nice. Next one, guys. This isn't a game as such, because the thing about the CDI is that it wasn't actually necessarily just a games console. It was marketed as a multimedia system. So as well as playing games, it could also play what were called video CDs, which are basically films that would work on the CDI. So it wasn't like DVDs, because DVDs don't actually work on the CDI, but they were called video CDs. So as long as you had a video CD, they'd play. And they released like some Star Trek films on video CD. Ghost got a video CD release. Back to the Future, I believe, got a video CD release as well, and others too. And as I said, it wouldn't work on a DVD player, but it would work on the CDI, and obviously vice versa. DVDs wouldn't work on a CDI. Oh, and after a while, it actually dims itself on purpose to try and save you some power. I don't mind too much at the minute, because it's not like I'm going to be on the live stream for hours and hours, so I can take it back out again, because it's not a problem. But the great thing, it had a bit of energy saving elements to it as well. So the next one, therefore, is Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia. So it's, again, similar to, I suppose, Encarta. You know, before you had the internet, everyone used to use Encarta. I mean, I used to use Encarta 95 on the Windows PC, but I also used to use this as well. Now, believe me when I say this, guys, this was £150 when it was released. I'm not kidding. I'm really not kidding. £150 when this came out. I would like to think that my parents didn't pay that much for it, and I'm sure they wouldn't have done, because they're not that silly. But according to this brochure I've got, it was £150. There's no way anyone would spend that much on there. But the reason why it was is because of the amount of stuff that's inside it. You know, it's got 32,000 short articles, it's got 130 picture montages, it's got 5,200 comprehensive articles, 8 unique exploration paths, a time machine featuring 700 events linked to the main encyclopedia, and finally, it has a complete world atlas linked to over 1,000 articles. So because of the immense amounts of information that are in it, it basically increased the price on it. But still, like, you just would not pay that amount of money for an encyclopedia. Although I did do a project at school on it once, so yeah, it was actually quite useful in the end. The other thing is as well, the actual games themselves, the hinges were so weak. Literally within a couple of days of you buying a game, you know, pretty much that would just fall off, because they were made so weak, they would always break. So most of my games actually have broken in half. Next one we've got, guys, is Connect 4. Now, again, electronic version of the board game, of course. You know, who can get 4 in a row? Not a bad version, actually, to play on a games console. You have to sort of share the joypad between sort of two of you, but it's actually really good. Although you can get a multi-tap, I've seen actually, for the CDI, but again, you know, it's not worth it at the end of the day, just for like a couple of games, and it's probably quite pricey anyway, because it's probably quite rare now. So, but yeah, as I say, Connect 4, you know, say you're having to set up the actual main board physically, you could just stick the disc in. So yeah, Connect 4, not bad if you want something a bit different to play on and you've got someone willing to play it with you. Right, next one is Dark Castle. Now, Dark Castle had a port on the Mega Drive, I believe. This is obviously the CDI version. It is horrendous. It might look a bit intriguing from like the castle and everything on the front, but it is horrendous, guys. Do not pay any attention to Dark Castle. It is not fun at all. Main reason being, you go through different rooms in a castle trying to get through them, but the controls are absolutely disgraceful. Literally, you know, when like you want to shoot normally, you should be able to sort of go around a full axis and be able to smooth up and down, or sort of left and right, be able to sort of, you know, come, you know, with your gun and everything. This, honest to God, he starts with his hand up, and then when you try and go down on the D-pad, it sort of goes like a clock like that. So you can't go in between there and there because it shifts too far up and down. So you miss different parts of the axis. So when you go to shoot, it has to be so precise or you're going to get killed. I say no more. It's horrendous. Do not look at Dark Castle. Defender of the Crown. Defender of the Crown is basically not one for me, I'll be honest. It's all based on, you know, Knights of the Round Table, the Age of Chivalry, that kind of thing, maidens and everything. It's just not my kind of thing, I'll be honest. I've just had it a while. I can't remember where I got it from, but it reckons on the back it's going to give you heart-pounding action. Really doesn't. Really doesn't. I think Defender of the Crown is available on another system, possibly the NES. I could be mistaken, though. But yeah, if you've played Defender of the Crown, feel free to say. I'm not saying it's a horrendous game as such. It's just not for me. But again, it might be for other people. However, leading on now to one of my favourite ever CDI games, and that's a game called Escape from Cyber City. Now, I've spoken about this in sort of a few videos recently, if you've been following my channel, Dancentral. It's a great CDI game, guys. It's so fast-paced, and it is very tough, very difficult, but it's really, really fun. You get that massive adrenaline rush. You don't have a lot of time to think before you shoot, and if you think too long, you will probably be killed. But you know, it is a really good game. It's based on an anime called Galaxy Express 999. So it's all featured around an anime, so hence the graphics are anime based. There was a similar game actually based on this as well called Freedom Fighter, and there's an opening sequence of that on YouTube, which is quite funny as well if you want to check that out. But yeah, if you like your anime stuff, or you know, I mean, I'm a fan of Studio Ghibli. I love things like Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Laputa Castle in the Sky, Princess Mononoke, I think you pronounce it, Grave of the Fireflies. I could go on, but yeah, I'm a massive fan of my anime stuff. And that's, again, focused around one. So, again, really good game. As it dimmed on me again. Right, we'll just do a couple more games, guys, and we'll move on to something different, because I don't want this to just be me showing games to you. Next one, don't ask why I've got this. How the Rhinoceros Got His Skin. I think I must have picked it up in a charity shop for like a quid or 50p or something, and just because it happened to say CDI, I suppose it was just like I can put it in the collection, I guess. It's just a story for kids, basically. The only good thing about it is it's actually told by Jack Nicholson, you know, from The Shining, and it was also in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He actually tells this story, which is a bit random. So, yeah. But other than that, I don't really know why I've got it. Going on to a sports game now. International Tennis Open. Not bad, actually. I'm not a fan of sports games, I'll be honest. But because I've played this a lot, because it's CDI and I grew up with CDI, I actually learned to actually quite like it, to be honest. So I don't mind it at all. I could sit and play it and get a fair bit of enjoyment. Maybe not too much, but I could still get a fair bit of enjoyment from it. And the last one we're going to show for the time being is another game, which is pretty cool, actually, but I always get stuck on it. I'm not too sure how it really works too much, but it's a game called Laser Lords. Again, don't really know too much about it. It's not too bad. You could always feel free to pick it up. I mean, I can't say too much on it because I've not played it too much, but it's not a bad game, to be honest. It really isn't a bad game. Just quickly, it says on the back, you basically have to fly aboard the Laser Lord Star Cruiser and you explore Argos, which is a vast military industrial complex. Woo, whatever that means. And it just mentions loads of different aliens. There are 7 alien worlds in all, and you need everything you can muster to vanquish the Star Lord Sarpendon and destroy the Voidal Implosion engine. So there we go. That's that one. So there we go, guys. That's some of my collection. Hope you saw something there that looked quite intriguing. Like I said, if anyone feels free to want to comment or want to get on board in general, feel free. I'm going to basically look at some of my comments now, see if there's any there. Do bear with me, guys. Again, I do apologise if you know, this seems to sort of be a bit sort of start and stop, or if it seems like I am very rusty and I don't seem to know what I'm doing. I am still getting used to Google Hangouts as a whole. I've only hosted a couple in my time, and last one, as I said, was over a year ago. So do bear with me. Making the decision to do this evening, you know, wasn't an easy decision either, because I'm still very rusty. So yeah, do bear with me. I'm used to being on camera on my YouTube videos, but not live. So yeah, please do bear with me, guys. So let's have a look. Half Blind Gamer and Gashead Steve are going to watch. So hi, guys. If you're still watching, I hope I'm not boring you. I hope you are enjoying the show. Do feel free to leave me comments, or if you do fancy jumping on board properly, then let me know. That would be awesome, guys. I've got some maybes about coming on from Lefarius and Gross Newton. 2 awesome guys. Lefarius I've known for a long time. Gross Newton, not too long, but still an awesome guy. So, guys, if you do happen to decide you want to come on, please feel free. Half Blind Gamer, Sebastian. CDI is awesome for board games. Yeah, definitely. Connect 4, Battleships, really, really cool. Funny how the most static type of game made for the best experiences on a multimedia platform. Yeah, true. Very true. It had some great conversions for sure, though, like Battleship. So, yeah, definitely. You know, Battleships is a great game. In fact, I was playing it the other day, funnily enough, with a good friend of mine. So I'm not going to spoil, because we've got some stuff in the works for YouTube. So I don't want to give too much away. But, yeah. It is a really, really good port, guys. So yeah, do check it out if you fancy it. I know it's getting quite dark, so I'm going to try and turn the main light on. But again, hopefully, for me, it's like either sit in the dark, or if I put the light on, it's going to glare, probably reflect off everything. But, you know, we can only but try and see what happens. So bear with me. How's that? Is that going to reflect off the... Yeah, see, look, it's already starting to reflect off the TV screen. You know, you just can't win. You really just cannot win. But hey ho, you work with what you've got. And, you know, that's not good enough, then what can you do? So there we go, guys. Thank you so much for some of the comments so far. Really appreciate that. I've got my Facebook open as well, if anyone wants to kind of get on board. Oh, there we go. Gashead Steve, I'm here and I'm watching. Ooh, that sounds a bit stalkerish, doesn't it? He's watching me. Well, I hope I'm doing a good job, Steve. I really hope I am, because I haven't done this in a while. So there we go. Anyway, so CDI then, guys. Have you ever played a CDI? CDI came in all different shapes and sizes. Some were absolutely huge, which are the ones that I've got, and some were also quite small. And they also did a sort of a portable version of a CDI as well, which is quite rare nowadays. A bit like the portable Dreamcast they brought out, which they called a Dreamcast with a T, which is like a Japanese only, I think, release, which was portable. So a little bit random, but I think they're quite rare. But basically, probably can't see very well, but if I just flip down a minute, you'll see it's plugged in at the minute. But this is basically, my Dreamcast actually next to it, actually. But this is basically the CDI that I'm actually playing the games on at the minute. This is the CDI 210 or 210 model. Obviously, an absolute beast. No idea why it had to be so big, but it is. Such a pain to carry as well. We compare it to the Dreamcast sitting next to it, and, you know, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But there we are. And then if I move some of my collection out the way, whoops, I've just pushed them on the floor. This is actually another model that I own. So again, similar sort of size, but just obviously a different model. So as I said, they came in really big sizes, and they also came in smaller ones as well. So it sort of depended on what you went for, but they were absolutely just massive. There was no reason for them to be that big, but they were. So there's the models themselves, guys. Back in the day, some of you may have heard of bits and pieces of this already. Super Nintendo basically were planning on creating a CD add-on for the SNES. And they put some ideas on the table, and they sort of made a sort of prototype. You can actually see a picture of it if you look online. There's some famous pictures that have been floating around that you can actually see what it's meant to look like. And it does actually look really, really intriguing. And I think if they had pulled it off, it would have been pretty awesome, to be fair. Unfortunately, obviously, it never actually came into fruition. Then obviously Philips got involved and said, well, what we'll do is we'll create a CD-based system, but you can market some of your games onto it. They sort of made an agreement, and sort of licensing and stuff enabled Philips to actually market some Nintendo games on the Philips CDI itself. Hence why you got a Zelda game and a Link game on the system, and you also got a Mario game as well, which some of you may have heard of. If I can find it, there it is, called Hotel Mario. I will go through that in a bit more detail actually in a bit. My dog has decided to come and say hi. So you're live on camera. This is my dog Rosie. If any of you haven't seen her before, some of you have, some of you haven't. So yeah, very cute, very cute. So anyway, Philips then said they would make a system to market some of their games on, but obviously, unfortunately, it didn't do as well as everyone was hoping, and the system ended up flopping and not selling as many units as they were hoping at all. It had a fair lifespan. Its lifespan was actually a bit longer than I thought it was. I think I researched that it began in about 1991, and then it finally got discontinued around 1998, I believe it was. It's around about 7 years. That's not bad for a system that, you know, a lot of people have said isn't, you know, a great system. It's not done very well. It still had a 7-year lifespan, so that's not bad at all, to be fair. I mean, I'm quite impressed by that, considering the reputation that it sort of got in the end. But yeah, that didn't do very well. And then obviously there was the whole thing about Sony and Nintendo, and that they formed a partnership, but then they didn't stay together, and then Sony went off and did its own thing, and then, you know, that was it really. We then got the Sony PlayStation, and the SNES then went on to just play carts only and didn't play CDs at all. But I'm sure some of you, however, recently have seen that picture or that famous news story floating around that someone's actually found the Nintendo PlayStation, which is this prototype that these guys have found. I don't think it had any cables or anything, but it was like they found the hardware of this Nintendo PlayStation. It's basically got a SNES controller with the word PlayStation on the top, and it basically can play both. It looks like it can play both Super Nintendo carts and PS1 discs as well, and it just looks so cool. And I'd love to say that I would love to own one, but I think I'd rather it did go in a museum so that it was actually preserved properly, because obviously, as we know, SNESes in particular can very easily start to yellow. And although this console is already starting to yellow, I think if someone kept it for too long, it would get even worse. Whereas if it got preserved in a museum, it wouldn't get any worse. So yeah, and things like that. But again, it's interesting to think about what would have happened, if Philips and Nintendo had properly stayed together and stuff, and or if this CD add-on was actually finally put on the SNES, would the Philips CDI had happened? Would Philips have gone down a different route? And because obviously it would have been separate from Nintendo, what would have happened in that respect? So that's a bit of a background behind what sort of happened. Philips were trying to basically provide an answer to the CD add-on to the SNES, but unfortunately it didn't quite happen. Also, there were some planned sequels for the CDI, which actually never saw the light of day. Some have, some people claim to have certain ones and actually haven't released them. Now, if you watched my YouTube video earlier about talking about a sequel that was cancelled, that was almost thrown away, there's actually a game that was released on the CDI, and it was called, I've got so many games here, guys. It was called Voyeur. So there was a game released on the Philips CDI called Voyeur. It's a very seductive, what would you call it? What did they call it? They didn't really say anything, to be honest. Voyeur, just the word voyeur itself, you already know what that's going to suggest. It's basically one of those games where you pose as a spy, and you have to basically stop someone from kind of wreaking havoc, and you have to basically catch him out, basically. It was rated 18 because a lot of the film clips and everything were quite suggestive and quite seductive. Nothing too graphic, but still enough for them to put an 18 graphic certificate on there. It's full motion video, so it's all real people and stuff. Basically, it's about a guy called Reed Hawke. He lives in this manor, and this weekend he's gathered his family to discuss his running for the presidency of the United States. Lust, revenge, and betrayal are at play in this adult political thriller. Do you just watch or risk getting involved? Will the videotape you make save the country or cost you your life? So basically, you have to basically film him doing certain things and trying to catch him out and basically stitch him up, really, and get him arrested. If he catches you, though, then obviously you're going to get shot and stuff like that. But along the way, as you're filming, you see like various kind of, I say sex scenes, they're not that graphic really, but still enough to give it an 18 certificate. Anyway, they released this game, Voyeur, and it is what it is. It's not too bad. I mean, you just go around with a videotape spying on this massive manor. And that was pretty much it. Anyway, that got released. And then Philips were like, well, let's do a sequel then. So like, okay, let's do a sequel. So they started putting down ideas for a sequel. Believe it or not, they finished it. It was 100% finished, and it had a whole new cast, and apparently it's meant to be better than the first. Apparently the storyline was better, etc., etc. It followed on a similar theme, but it was meant to be better, a bit more updated, etc., etc. Also got a port on the PC, as far as I'm aware, and that actually did get released. CDI version gets completed, 100%. Right at the last minute, gets cancelled. Why does it get cancelled? Apparently the only reason that we've got is that apparently they state that because at the time the CDI wasn't selling enough units as they were hoping, copies of the system itself, they pulled the plug on it. But then I'm thinking, well, if they spent enough money actually making the game in the first place, surely it wouldn't cost them much more money to just get it out into the world, and stuff. But obviously it cost them too much more money to distribute copies of it, so they decided to pull. Maybe they were suffering financial difficulties and it didn't happen. So anyway, it got pulled, and that was it. And no one saw it again. No one knew where it had gone. There was a prototype that was burnt to disc, but apparently it went missing, and that was it. Never to see the light of day again. Until October, it was very recently. It's either 2013 or 14, or was it even 12? Might have even been back as far as then. It was very recent, and in the past couple of years, someone was throwing a load of stuff out one day, and had completely forgotten that he had a copy of this prototype, you know, as you do. I suppose it was that long ago, it just slipped his mind. It had this box of stuff, and it was at the bottom, and basically he was throwing all this stuff out one day. He went to throw this box of stuff into this skip to be destroyed forever, and he just so happened, luckily, to see right at the bottom there was a blank disc that had on it something like, I don't know, maybe a Voya 2 prototype, and then the date, obviously way back in the 90s. So then he suddenly realises and sort of freaks out and stops. He's like, oh, picks it up, and he's like, oh my God, I used to work on this, da 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 da. And what happens? He goes and puts it in his computer. The whole thing starts up. He manages to get the data off the disk, puts it online on this website, and that's it. Suddenly now the whole world can experience Voya 2 as it was intended to play on the CDI in the first place, and now we can play it. If anyone is interested, I can put you in the right direction to the actual website that you can actually download it off of and play it. You can actually burn it to a blank disc as well as an ISO if you know what you're doing, and you can actually play it on the actual console itself. And I actually do have that now physically in my hands so that I can actually play the second one. I've played a little bit. It is actually really good. It is really, really good. And just to be able to experience a piece of history that almost got destroyed forever is absolutely awesome, guys. It really is. I've put a picture of it actually on my CDI groups, but just so you guys can see, I've actually got a picture of it on my phone as well. I don't know how well you guys can see that. It's sort of reflecting off the, there you go, Voya 2. That was taken on a different TV actually when I started it up on CDI the other day. So there's a story behind Voya 2. If you want to play it, you can actually experience it now, thankfully due to one individual that saved it and enabled us to now play it. And if it wasn't for him, we would never be able to play it. And our any hopes of being able to play it would have been destroyed forever, but they haven't been. So there we go, guys. That's the story behind one of the sequels. So hope you're enjoying the show. I hope it's not too boring and everyone's having a good time. Right, I've got some more comments. So I do want you guys to interact with me as much as possible, and obviously I want to interact with you as well. I don't want to talk for too long because I don't want to feel like it's just me with the camera. I want to get involved with you guys as much as possible, and you guys get involved with me as much as possible. And please do be patient with me. I hope I do this live stream justice. It's something different, and if you guys have never played a Philips CDI before, it gives you an insight as to what it is like. Ben Ray, good stuff. He's a cool dude, actually. Hey there, I'm watching along. Cheers, mate. If you want to get involved in any more formats, if you want to come on properly, you are always welcome to do so. Odd Pod. Hey, no chat or Q&A on the live stream. Still good stream, though. No Q&A. Oh, hang on a minute. How do I do this? Guys, you can't, you're not able to chat. I thought I enabled the chat. It says group chat so that you guys could chat on here. Can you not do that? What do I do? Q&A? This feature is disabled. Oh, it says Q&A has been disabled. I clicked on it and it says Q&A, this feature is disabled. Odd Pod, it says it's been disabled, so I don't know how to enable that. Is there an easy way to do that? I thought I actually had a public chat function enabled for you. I clicked on the chat screen and it's actually put up a group chat on the sidebar. So if you can't see that, let me know, guys, because I want to get that working for you if it enhances your experience. I want you guys to talk to me, interact with me as much as you can, really. Odd Pod again. I haven't got my... Oh, hang on. I haven't gone on my CDI for ages. I can't even remember what games I have. I know I have Naked Gun Movie for it. I have the remote control looking controller. So Odd Pod has got the remote control looking controller. So Odd Pod, is it this one? Is it this? Because if it's this, it's awful. This is horrendous. Do not get this if you're looking for a controller because it is awful. Hand remote, using it with one hand. No remote control for a proper game system or a system that's got a lot of action games on it should be used with one hand or, excuse me, or as a remote control that you would watch TV on. You would never want to use a controller like that. You're going to do some proper gaming. You want an actual gamepad that you can actually get properly into some intense gaming with. You do not want a remote control like that. So don't go with that. If you've got that Odd Pod, get a different one. Let's see if I can put some more lighting on, guys. This is really getting really dark now. Bear with me 2 secs. How are we doing? Is that any better? I don't know. You can only put so much light on. Funny thing is, my actual main light in the living room it consists of 3 separate lights going around in a circle, and the one light that's on the nearest side where I'm sitting is actually the bulb's gone, and the others haven't. So it would be the nearest light to me where the bulb has gone. So there we go, guys. Thank you for all your comments so far, guys. It'd be awesome if one of you wants to jump on in person. That would be wicked. Otherwise, don't worry, it's all good. Feel free to leave more comments if you so wish, and that would be great to read those out for you. Oddpod, I'll have to look out for the gamepad. Yes, the one you've just shown, that's the one, and yes, it's awful. Yeah, don't get this, guys. Really, just it's one of the famous controllers that was actually out for the system, but it is not worth it. It is horrendous. If you want a gamepad, get this one. There's actually a few gamepads that are available, but this is, can you see that all right? But this is the best one that you can actually get. I say it's the best one. I've actually gone through 3 of these. This is the 3rd one because the other 2 broke down. But when they do work, they are the best ones. So yeah, go for that, guys, if you want a good gamepad to use. Okay. Oddpod, yeah, you have to enable Q&A before you go live. We can still comment here, but I can't see the chat bar or the Q&A. Oh, really? Oh, so you have to enable Q&A before you go live. Oh, I didn't know that. You know, I said when I'm really rusty. Well, there's your first example as to how rusty I really am. I suppose stopping the broadcast and starting again would not be a good idea. So what I might do, guys, on a serious note, is if you guys are interested and you don't mind, how about I run for another, maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or something, and then I'll stop it there for maybe 5, 10 minutes. Then I'll do like a second part. We'll come back, like maybe like an interval, should we say. I'll come back, I'll start another one, and then I'll click on the Q&A before I start it again. And then if you guys are still around, maybe then hopefully it'll work that time. Maybe, you know, maybe that's an idea. Right, let's have a look. Half-blind gamer, Sebastian, awesome dude. He has been an absolute star today, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Half-blind gamer, I played through most of Flashback on the remote before I got a proper gamepad. I had so much patience back then. Mate, you did Flashback on a remote, playing it on an actual remote. You were patient, absolutely, mate. You know, full credit to you for doing that. There's no way I would have done that. I actually got Flashback, to be honest, funnily enough. Flashback. Obviously, it's got ports on the Mega Drive as well and stuff like that. But, remote, no way. I would not try and play Flashback with that. It's just not happening. It is not happening. I'm sorry. It is just not happening. Right, let's have a look. Oddpod, could you show the Encyclopedia game? Seems interesting. Well, it's an encyclopedia, Oddpod. It's not a game because encyclopedias... Well, actually, no. Encyclopedias do sometimes have game elements, but this one doesn't. But I'll show it, definitely. Yeah, if you want to have a look, that's not a problem. Half-blind gamer again, Sebastian. They're fairly expensive when bought separately, unfortunately. It's often cheaper to get it together with a system for some odd reason. Do you know what? That is totally right. I was talking about the gamepad controller. When I bought this new one not long ago, it cost me 30 quid, which doesn't sound maybe too much, but for an old controller, especially for the CDI, it is quite pricey. And I was a little bit like in about even buying it. But in the end, it was kind of like, you know, yeah, I needed it because my other one had fully broken. So yeah, if you do look on eBay, they are quite pricey if you want this specific one. But if you can stretch to it, it is worth doing. Or if you do end up getting a new system itself, sometimes maybe that is more beneficial in the long run. Oddpod, second part is fine with me. Great stuff. Okay then, guys, what I'll do then is I'll show some footage for the Encyclopedia game, especially for Oddpod. Awesome dude. And then I'll come back in a bit, and then we can look at some more collection stuff. Guys, I've rambled on and on and on and on and on, rightly or wrongly, to try and find my feet a little bit. But I do want you guys to form a lot more of the discussion. So do get involved, guys, because I've played the CDI for years, so I know a lot about it. I know about a lot of the games and stuff. The idea about this live stream is to get you guys involved. I want you to be able to say to me, you know, what's this, what's that? You know, just ask questions. I really don't mind. And obviously, if I can get the Q&A function working, the second part, hopefully that will provide more interaction, and then it will hopefully work a lot better anyway. So, Half-Blind Gamer, show the time machine. That looks mostly like a game, I guess. That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, the Encyclopedia game does have the time machine. I suppose the time machine element is a bit like a game. It's kind of not a game, but it kind of, I suppose it could be like that. So yeah, why not? Let's have a look then, guys. Encyclopedia. So there we go. Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia. Oh, hang on a sec. Odd Pod again. He's thrown a link down. Don't know if this will help with the chat thing. I love encyclopedias. I had one for the PC in the 90s and it was really cool. Could have been in Carter, possibly. Or there was one I used to have. It was by DK Multimedia. Do you remember them? It was called Children's Encyclopedia. That was really cool as well. So yeah, okay, let's do that then, guys. I might have to turn the lights off again so you can see the TV screen, because now you're getting a reflection of the lights in the TV screen. So it's going to have to be game footage, turn all the lights off. You want to see me talk again? Then turn the lights back on. Now that really weird random noise you can hear in the background is actually the actual tray for the CDI. The spring's gone in my CDI because it's so old. So I have to push it in by force, which isn't ideal, but it's because the spring's gone. But because I have to push it in by force, it makes a really weird noise. So here we go, guys. This is Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia. I'm going to turn the lights off again because it's going to look really, really odd. Okay, so obviously everything's dark again, guys, but at least you can see, hopefully, a little bit of the screen quite well. I have got my laptop on the floor, and the TV is quite up high on a big table. So apologies if you can't see too well. But again, it's not like I'm doing gameplay vids for my actual YouTube channel. It's just so you guys can see. So if you go up then, guys, if you can see hopefully as well as possible, you've got videos, you've got title finder. You've got topic tree, there's a time machine. You've got atlas, dictionary, fact index, obviously to go back, pictures, help, and obviously to end the game. So let's go on the time machine then. Specially requested by Sebastian, Half Blind Gamer. So there's your awesome looking, there you go. There's your awesome looking time machine. You know, they were so inventive back then, weren't they? They really were. All right, so let's go into the time machine and see what happens. Oh, that's not too bad, graphic-wise. Could be worse. Could be better, but could be worse. Okay, so let's go. Well, apparently we can't go to the future, so let's go into the past. So you've basically got different time zones flashing across the top, and then you can stop whenever you want to, and it will take you to that era, and you can then basically, I suppose, read about history of that era. So it's kind of like well, not necessarily a game, but it's something different that's different from just reading stuff and experiencing it as if it was an encyclopedia solely. So let's just, like, without thinking, let's just stop on the next one. And what we got, 1830 to 1850, and we've got something there. And that is either disasters in that era. We can read about discovery and conquest, politics and state, money and trade, invention, science, sports and leisure, war and rebellion, or world leaders. So this is obviously 1830 to 1850, so bear that in mind. Anybody got any ideas of what they would like to go on? Discovery and conquest, disasters, politics and state, money and trade, invention, science, sports and leisure, war and rebellion, world leaders. If it doesn't take too long, that is. Anyone got any ideas what they want me to go on? Anyone? Anyone? You got 30 seconds, or I'm just going to choose one. No, you're not quick enough. Not quick enough. Right, I'm going to choose one. I was seeing if Odd Pod or Half Blind Gamer would pick one quick, but it's all good. I'm going to go with sports and leisure then, because... oh, hang on. Is anyone... They posted something? Posted something? No. Not a category. No, it's all good. But sports and leisure, mainly because I work in the sports and leisure industry, so it appeals to me. So basically what we've got here, in 1839 was the invention of the bicycle. So there you go. So that was the only thing that this encyclopedia can tell you about sports and leisure between 1830 and 1850. Oh, you can't see the screen because it's too bright. Apologies, guys. You can't see anything. Well, that's pointless, wasn't it? It basically says 1839, invention of the bicycle. So there we go. I didn't realize you couldn't see that. Well, let's just do, oh, hang on, Odd Pod, war. Okay, Odd Pod, this is request of Odd Pod, war and rebellion. What do we got? You can't see that again. Apologies, guys, it's a bit too bright. And actually, I can turn the contrast down, but it takes so long on this TV to get to the menu, so I don't waste any time. Basically, 1831, Nat Turner's Revolt. 1838, the Afghan Wars. 1839, Opium Wars begin. 1846 was the Mexican War. 1848 was the revolutions of 1848. And 1850 was the Taiping Rebellion. Taiping? Taiping Rebellion. So there we go. Was that interesting? Probably not. But there we are. The comments feed is a bit delayed, says Half Blind Gamer. Yeah, that's probably my fault. I wasn't actually trying to rush you. I was just being random and just trying to have a laugh. But I wasn't actually trying to say, hurry up. So let's just do one more, and then we'll go on some more discussion before maybe we leave this part for a bit. So let's go on disasters. Or what disasters happened in between 1830 and 1850? Well, basically, 1845 was the Irish potato famine and the Great Migration. Ooh, so there was a potato famine in Ireland, and there was the Great Migration. So that was 1845. So quite a cool feature of this encyclopedia, to be fair. You know, it's something that I don't think any other encyclopedias that I can think of actually enabled you to do, to be able to actually physically see yourself flying through time and being able to look at different elements of different parts of history. So it is quite cool. Maybe not a game we should think of a game, but it is still pretty cool. And as Oddpod's now saying, it's quite a cool game and the loading times are quite cool. I would actually get this one. Ah, well, that's pretty cool. So I've actually persuaded someone to get it. Do you know what? I'm happy with that. If no one else decides to get it, one person has. So do you know what? That's pretty cool. And do you know what, Oddpod? We're going to do one more because you've really made my night. You have. The fact that you've, you know, made me feel that it was worthwhile putting this game on or this encyclopedia on. We're going to do one more. So let's go, guys. Let's stop at another time era. This time we're going to go into the future rather than the past. Actually, this is actually quite cool, actually. I'm not going to lie. I'd forgotten this was actually quite interesting. Oh, we're going up towards present day a little bit. So we got 1960. Should we go as far into the future as we can? Should we see how accurate some of these... Oh, where does it stop? It's going to stop around about here, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. I was going to say, it's got to stop on 1992 because this game wouldn't have been any later than that. Can you imagine if it started saying 2015? You'd be like, hang on a minute, this game wasn't out. was that way before then? So it wouldn't have been able to have seen what the events were like after that date. So, right, guys, let's just finish on this one. So this is between 1986 and 1992. And Oddpod is such a cool dude. Oddpod, I love learning. Well, do you know what? You've come to the right place because you're getting a proper history lesson via Dancentral using none other than, not pen and paper, not the internet, oh no, the Philips CDI. So we've now got civilization, disasters, money and trade, politics and state, religion and mythology, world leaders, war and rebellion, or science. I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds, not just Oddpod, but any of you others that are watching, feel free just to state a category on the comments feed so I can see them, and I'll click on it and we'll see just how accurate some of these events are from this time era, being as close to where we are now time-wise as possible. So again, once more, science, war and rebellion, world leaders, religion and mythology, politics and state, money and trade, civilization and disasters. What do you want, guys? Feel free to click one or put one down and I'll click on a couple before we finish this part. And then, like I said, I'll come back with a part 2. Maybe we'll look at a few more games if anyone's interested. I'll go through a bit more of my collection because I've not gone through it all yet. A bit more discussion, a bit more gameplay, and just see how it all pans out, really, and go from there. I've got 5 viewers currently. So honestly, thank you so much to all 5 of you that are watching, taking time out of your evening to watch just a random TV screen. It probably doesn't look that interesting at the minute, but honestly, you probably could be doing other things with your evening. So thank you so much for choosing to watch this instead. Odd Pod, they should be putting the CDI in schools. Do you know what? They probably should. They probably should, because at the end of the day, a lot of history that they learn about is these kind of eras, obviously. So, Odd Pod, team civilization. Okay. Good man. So, Odd Pod, civilization. Where was it? I was right at the top, weren't it? What an idiot. Right at the top. So, 1986 to 1992, under civilization, we have got, again, apologies you can't see that. I'll just read it out. 1988 was the Pan AM Flight 103, whatever that means. Pan AM. Oh, was it Pan Am? Or was it Pan Am? Pan Am Flight 103. 1992 was the Los Angeles riot. So apparently that's what it says. Oh, my dog's getting in the way. So apparently the Los Angeles riot was in 1992, and this, whatever it's Pan AM Flight 103, was 1988. That was the year I was born. Would you believe it? 1988. So there we go, guys. That's what's under civilization. How are we doing? Let me just pick one myself then, just to finish. Let's go for... let's go for disasters. 1989 was the Exxon Valdez oil spill, and 1989 was the how do you pronounce that? Tiananmen. 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 So the Tiananmen Square massacre. So there we go. There we go. Odd Pod, it's a great stream. I don't think I've ever travelled through time on a live stream. Do you know what? That's a really good point. Come to a live stream with Dancentral and you'll be flying through time in a awesome, funky little time machine. Half Blind Gamer, they had CDIs in schools and it lasted well into the 2000s for business applications, presentations and trainings. Well, there you go. Thank you very much, Sebastian. Really, really appreciate that. They were used in schools after all. So there we go, guys. That was Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia. There's your time machine. We're going to go back to the home page. And as I said, you know, it's got a fact index, a dictionary, an atlas, a topic tree. You can actually search for topics yourself from scratch via the title finder. You can watch video clips. Oh, that's interesting. Video clips. Oh, look. Next video. Oh, you can watch a video on whales. Look. Ain't it cute? It's Free Willy. Look, shall we play it quickly? See what happens. What do I click on? Do I click on the... Oh, there we go. The play button, that would help.
Whales are not fish, but mammals. Like all mammals, they're warm-blooded. They nurse their young, and they breathe air. Whales are playful, intelligent, and friendly. Despite international efforts to limit commercial whaling, whale populations are continuing to decline, and these wondrous creatures may soon be threatened with extinction.
Oh, that's sad. That's really sad. And I'm saying that genuinely. I'm not being sarcastic. That is sad that that is the case. But yeah, as I say, there's loads of different video clips, guys. There's someone's space and obviously looks like a volcanic eruption. That one.
In this volcano's initial stages, small eruptions, each lasting a few hours, occur repeatedly over a period of weeks. Spectacular orange fountains of lava soar more than 100 meters into the air. As the volcano reaches the peak of its activity, the fountains reach heights of over 500 meters, taller than any man-made structure. Expanding gas causes lava to froth and break into small pieces. As it comes in contact with the atmosphere, the molten material hardens into a light porous rock called pumice.
Wow, well there you go. I've learned, actually, even myself, I've learned quite a lot already. Oh, random picture of a knee. as you do. And yeah, God, there's so many video clips on here, guys. Well, if you think about it, right, for the CDI, having to store this amount of video clips on a single CDI disc and a CDI disc, it's not like a, you know, an Xbox One disc. We're talking the CDI disc here. You know, to try and get that many video clips on here, you know, and that's not including all the articles and the time machine element and you know, the newspaper stuff and the fact index, whatever you call it. You know, it was quite a feat back in the day. I'm actually really impressed. And the quality, you know, for the time, you know, isn't bad at all. Obviously, the screen's a lot smaller because it's like a screen within a screen. It's a screen within my TV screen. But yeah, really impressed with that. Awesome stuff. So I've learned a lot about whales now. I've learned about volcanic eruptions, and I've learned about different eras of time in terms of certain disasters and historical events. So there we go. That was Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia. Sorry, I got way too carried away with that music. I shouldn't have left it recording that long, but I actually got really into that music then because it sounded really quite funky. So I was dancing way off camera. So that's why it took so long for me to stop that, because I was getting too into that. But there we go. Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia, guys. Them credits rolled in there. It was almost like the end of the first part of the live stream. It was like the credits to sort of close the first part. It's quite cool. So let's just quickly turn all the lights back on again. It's going to be one of those, I think, tonight. So bear with me. Three, two, one, you're back in the room. So there we go, guys. There was a lot of footage there then on Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia. I have to be honest, it's not the one that I expected to be showing a lot of footage from tonight. But having said that, I'm really glad that we did, because actually that time machine element is actually quite fun. I didn't realise it was, I mean, I've not been on that for years, that element. And I'd forgotten how sort of how informative and quite cool it could actually be. So yeah, and to put that element into an encyclopedia, especially for the CDI, they were being very creative back then. The system might not have done that well, but you've got to hand it to them. They really did go quite all out on this, and this is an encyclopedia. This isn't even a game. So thumbs up from me, and I'm guessing thumbs up from OddPod and Half Blind Gamer, and possibly some of you other guys that are watching as well. So yeah, there we go. I'm just going to go through some of the other comments as well, because I don't want to miss any out, because that's not the idea. Half Blind Gamer, it's a very interesting piece of software, especially for its time. It was very impressive back then. Definitely, I'd agree with that. OddPod, I just bought the encyclopedia on eBay. That is amazing. That is a first. That is a first, guys. All of you that are watching this live stream now, if you've just come on and you wonder what's going on, I've just shown an encyclopedia disc on the Philips CDI, which looks like this. And one of my really good friends, OddPod, great guy, really nice guy, he's liked the footage so much so that he's literally this minute just gone and bought it off eBay. That is a first for me, actually influencing someone to go and buy a game that I show. Amazing. You're awesome, dude. Nice one. You've obviously got a CDI that you just need to dig out to be able to play it on, but that is fantastic. He's gone and bought it. That has made my night. This stream was worth doing just for that, really. Awesome. Half Blind Gamer. Whales also have hair, or it can't be a mammal. Oh, interesting. Okay. I hope you guys could hear those video clips all right, because I mean, obviously I could, but I've just realised, I don't know how loud the sound was then when the guy was going, whales are not fish, but mammals. I don't know if you could hear that all right. Hopefully you could. So yeah, Odd Pod's talking to Half Blind Gamer, saying ace. That's awesome. Just making sure that I've got everything here. Half Blind Gamer, haha, it's been forever since I've seen that screen. Used to be cool. Seeing that, it was an upgrade from the NES for me back then. Definitely. Half Blind Gamer, were there actually more encyclopedias released in the UK apart from the Packing One? Over here, we got a much fancier one down the line and a medical one as well. There were quite a few other encyclopedias type of titles as well, but on smaller topics like dogs, for example. Oh, that's cool. So obviously, Half Blind Gamer, Sebastian doesn't live in the UK. So he's just basically asking what sort of encyclopedias we got. So we got Encarta. Like I said, there was one called Children's Encyclopedia by DK Multimedia that I had. That was really cool. Odd Pod saying as well, yeah, he had Encarta 95, wicked. It was all about Encarta before the internet, absolutely. And I think that's probably, have you got any more comments if I just scroll back up again, because I don't want to leave anybody out. Odd Pod, I have 2 CDIs right behind me and I've not touched them for ages, but I'm so getting it out to dance to that funky encyclopedia music. Guys, Sebastian, can you get that music for me? When you get a chance, Sebastian, Half Blind Gamer, you've got that, haven't you? Competence and Track Encyclopedia. If you get a chance and you're not doing anything at any point over the coming weeks, can you can you rip that for me? Because that is actually really funky. And I'd love to have that in my iTunes. Which actually leads on to another point that we're going to go through, guys, if you do want to stay with me in the second part of this CDI live stream, and that's music. Basically, the reason why Half Blind Gamer, Sebastian's been such a star today is that he's been helping me getting some music together from the CDI games and ripping them off the game so that you can have them in your iTunes, you can download them, and you can play them at your own, at your own leisure. Some of the CDI games actually did come with a separate disc with the music already on it, and obviously some didn't. And we're trying to build up a library of as many games as we can, by ripping the music off of as many games as we can to preserve the music history of the Philips CDI so that it stands the test of time. And we're doing a really good job so far. I've got 12 official CDI soundtracks saved to my iTunes, and I'd love to add the Competence Encyclopedia actually to them. But yeah, we'll go through that in a bit more detail in the second part, guys. I also want to look at Micro Machines on the CDI and how that port compares to the actual port on the NES, the SNES, even like the Game Boy and the Game Gear, etc., because they all had ports as well. And I might show some gameplay as well. And also another great thing is that Sebastian very kindly managed to rip the entire soundtrack of Micro Machines for me as well. And that's now sitting proudly in my iTunes. And the reason why I love that is because it's so rocky and upbeat. It's proper 80s kind of power anthem feel behind it, and I just love it. So to be able to have that now properly is just awesome. And I also want to go through another prototype, guys, which was never released. Very famous though. Can anyone guess what it is? It was only 30% completed. Only 30% of the game code has been completed. And I think we've only got about sort of 80 to 90% of the cover art and the graphic design was completed as well. So all the levels are broken. Some of the levels don't load. It was an early prototype back in the early 90s that was meant to be really, really sought after, but never saw the light of day until we got a prototype released later, which you can actually now burn onto disc, even though the levels are still broken. I'm not going to tell you what it is. If you come back in the next part, guys, I'm going to hopefully be able to enable the Q&A feature as well. I will tell you what that game is. Have a think. If you are going to come back, have a think of what this game could be. It was an early prototype. Only 30% of the game code was finished. Hence why when you go on it, all the levels are broken, but it's still really fun to play through and see what it could have been if they had finished it. What do you think that was? Let me know in the comments when we come back, and I'll tell you if you're right or not. And as I said, we'll go through Micro Machines, and I'll go through some more of my collection as well. And again, if there's any more games that you guys see, I'll shove them on the CDI and we can look at them again on the screen. So I think I'm starting to find my pace a little bit now that I'm sort of been doing this for so an hour or so. So guys, hopefully you don't mind sticking with it. Come back and we'll look at some more of my collection, and we'll go through this prototype and yeah, get some more conversations going. I know some other people have said to me already that they will jump on later, but they're still at work. So hopefully in the second part, we might get some more people coming from work and want to jump on. Hopefully you can see me all right. The lighting's not amazing. I have to turn all the lights off to put the games on and have them on when I'm not. So thank you for watching this part, guys. Thank you so much to all of you. I've now got 7 viewers. That's amazing. If you've just joined this live stream, I will be coming back, so don't panic. Don't think you've missed too much and it's all finishing completely. I am coming back. If you want to watch any of the earlier part of this stream, obviously it'll be going on my channel in due course, and you can see it. So hopefully I'll be back, let's say, guys, if that's okay with you guys, about 15-minute interval. So we come back about 9:45, and then we'll just go round and see how long it goes on for. I mean, I'm happy to go. If it starts to fizzle out, then it fizzles out. If it keeps on going and it keeps on finding momentum, then it does. I think that's what happens with live streams. You see what happens and you go from there. But guys, I've now climbed, well, wow, I've now climbed to 8 viewers. That's, you know, for me, that's amazing. Thank you so much, guys. It's glitching between sort of 7 and 8. So that's amazing. As I say, I'm going to stop it now, guys. Thank you so much for all your comments. Thank you again as well to Odd Pod and Half Blind Gamer for your comments. That is wicked. Nick Clark, how you doing, man? Yeah, good stuff. Hi, Dan. Don't know much about the system. Nick, you don't have to know anything about the system. The reason being is because this live stream is the point of this is to be an information stream as well, to give you guys, you know, info on the system in case you don't know anything about it. So stay tuned if you can, and you can just sit and watch. You can interact if you want to. You can ask questions. No questions silly. Ask whatever you like, and I'll answer it on the system. That would be great. So stick around, Nick, because you don't have to know anything about the system to be involved in this stream, because the whole point of it is to let people know what it's about in case they don't know. Half Blind Gamer, let's try that. Come back for a second part and we'll see if it works. Good stuff. Odd Pod, I'll share the stream on Twitter once you're back. Amazing. Odd Pod, you are a legend. You are an absolute legend. Thank you so much, guys. I do ramble if I'm not careful, so I'm going to end it now, otherwise I won't shut up. So thank you so much, guys. Please do come back. Honestly, please come back, because it's going to find more momentum and it's going to prove, hopefully, a lot more fun. So, guys, do get involved. If you want to jump on personally, show your face, it would be awesome as well. Guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you about 9:45. See you very soon. Thank you for all your support. I really appreciate it.